broadcast there once we don't have 120 teams to handle with, guys. But here we are. We're getting into the draft. Arctic Wolves versus Immortalz. And the draft kicked itself automatically because that's how great of a tool it is. And the first ban is going to be Revenant there. They don't want to deal with the Bounty Hunter.
I mean, why would you want to deal with the Bounty Hunter?
I know.
Like, get him out of here. Obliterate is a really, really strong ability. So knock that off the map here. But that leaves really strong choices open. And the second ban, Shane, of course, is going to be FaZe.
Yes.
This is the first week she could be played. And, of course, we're going to see her banned out by Immortalz.
So what that means with FaZe being implemented into the game as the newest support, and I think unanimously the community has said FaZe is a pretty good hero.
Yeah.
That for the longest time, the most popular bans in the competitive scene dating back to this time last year was Decker. And Decker has always been the go-to support. And now with FaZe being thrown into the mix of very powerful supports, it sort of mixes up the drafting meta as a whole. Decker no longer a big priority as far as not as big of a priority, but we're still going to see her first picked, so on and so forth. And Arctic Wolves, they're going to get their either offlane or mid laner. We'll see how this is going to go. Picking up Morgesh.
Yeah, Morgesh, a strong choice. That means Immortalz is going to have first pick at support. Does look like they're going to pick up their mid laner Bellica and their support of Decker. Both really strong choices right there. Good control in the mid lane. And, of course, one of the best supports in the game, which means Arctic Wolves has the next two picks. I expect them to pick up a mid laner and possibly their carry.
Yep.
And that's what it looks like they're going to do, Shane.
Yeah, so Howitzer and Twin Blast being I would say the most favored carry currently in the meta outside of Revenant. They both have similar kits in the sense that they hit a really big mid-game peak as opposed to a Yin or a Sparrow who take a little bit longer time to get their prerequisite farm and to really become that DPS output engine that you expect them to be. Their damage is a good mix of ability damage. Twin Blast with his grenades, he has good wave clear. Just overall a strong carry that has a decent power spike throughout the course of the game. Doesn't really have this up and down sort of momentum. Over on the other side of the field, Immortalz, they have a lot of zone control, a lot of AoE here between the Bellica, the Decker, and the Gadget. You obviously always have the containment fence and the Tesla Dome, but more importantly, I almost said Becker. That's Bellica and Decker's when they come together. Apparently, Bellica's Void Drone does so much work, just a lot of control of a specific given area, and we're definitely going to want to see them play around those abilities and make sure that they're able to control the momentum of the team fights with all these kits.
Also going to pick up a Grux for their jungler. Still a really, really strong jungler, even with the jungle changes. It's going to be interesting to see these teams' rotations. I know Blood Morty has put out a great jungle guide over on Reddit you guys can check out. So Arctic Wolves is going to pick up their support chain. They're going to pick up Narbash, and they're going to pick up Sevarog in the jungle. That leaves carry open for the side of Immortalz. I expect to see Sparrow or Murdoch.
If they want to go something a little bit unorthodox, obviously there is the other available carries, a melee carry. I don't know if that's really the choice to go against with so much, with Narbash obviously being able to essentially kite a Seraph with Crash Bang Boom. Howitzer has a lot of CC control as well. I don't think a melee carry is going to be the way to go here. I would like to see them picked up a range carry, and I agree. I think Murdoch would make a lot of sense here. At the same time, though, Yin might have a little bit of strength. She obviously was nerfed recently, but yep, there's the Space Cop coming in with the big lasers. Murdoch has been picked up here, and that's your draft right there. So the Murdoch, obviously had that kit change recently, and has a little bit more lane presence with his increased range on his autos with that new passive. And of course, he has that pursuit where he's able to essentially chase people down who are low. But overall, as far as these draft goes, I feel like if Immortalz don't win the team fights in the first 5 to 10 seconds, then Arctic Wolves have a little bit more sustainability and a little bit more power outside of their ultimates that they can just win the fights by default if they can live through the big wombo combo that Immortalz has with their draft and are going to put on the field.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got like 14 Discord messages all of a sudden in my ear there. Popped up. But no, I agree. If they don't win early, then yes, Arctic Wolves definitely, I think, has the advantage. They have the control. They have Fatal Barrage is a absolutely great jungler, by the way. I've played against him many times, so it's going to be nice to see him in that jungle role on Sevrog and see this new Arctic Wolves lineup versus a team we have not seen before. Immortalz is a lot of not brand new players, but new to the competitive scene. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they play out against some established players with you, Crazy Fool, and of course Fatal Barrage, and this new Arctic Wolves lineup. Shane, I've got the replay up. I don't know if you have had a chance to get it up yet.
Yeah.
But I'm ready, man. I'm ready to start game number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first game, the very first casted broadcast of the North American Exhibition Qualifiers, brought to you by the Paragon Competitive League here at twitch.tv/Paragon Competitive League. Welcome. We are so very excited to be able to bring this to you and so very honored and privileged and humbled to put on this event. And let's introduce these teams. Mr. Guru on Twin Blast, Fatal Barrage on...
Oh, hold on, don't do it yet.
Are they about to go Fisticus?
I think they're going to do something.
All right, they're about to go Fisticus?
Nemesis.
Crazy Fool leading the charge? I thought this was going to be a Tank Morgesh, to be honest, with Crazy Fool leading the charge. They're just doing a little deep warding here. I think they're just looking to get some control inside of the jungle. But they know what's up. They see him. They're just going to fall back and more than likely try to de-ward. That's exactly what Monotone's going to do. Anyways, Mr. Guru on Twin Blast, Fatal Barrage on Sevrog, Crazy Fool on Morgesh, Polarized on Howitzer, and the Oracle on Narbash. That's a team you guys are probably familiar with. You've been hanging around. That's Arctic Wolves.
Over on the side of Immortalz, we've got Nemesis on Murdoch, Monotone on Grux. Odo is going to be playing Bellica, and we've got Holmes _2_2 playing Gadget, and Unoath is going to be playing Decker. So we've got a mid lane Gadget Shane and a off lane Bellica. Bellica in the off lane is actually not a bad choice. She's got a really good lane control with her Void Drone. She can kind of, depending on where she places it, you already have a mana-hungry hero in Narbash early game. Depending on how he's using his abilities, Void Drone can help him there. He's going to take a ton of damage right now. Those grenades are doing a ton of work. 25% health, he's going to back off. But again, good control as long as he doesn't get thunked and grenaded 4 times in a row.
Yeah, it's definitely an unorthodox offlaner, but as you mentioned, she's a hero who is able to get a lot of her kit even if she is deprived of farm. Just she needs levels more than anything to be an impact in the game. Obviously, as we transition to the mid game, she gets quite a bit out of her out of power scaling, even more so in her ultimate. Taking a look at the other lanes here, Murdoch Decker up against Morgesh. Morgesh is just a nuisance throughout the course of the game. She actually, once she hits level 5, if Nemesis or Unoath have any sort of positional mistake here, especially when it comes to lane manipulation, they get hived up and take too much harassment damage from Mark. Crazy Fool can absolutely get a kill 1v2 if they don't respect it. You already see, taking a look at this lane, that Decker and Murdoch both are at sub half HP. Crazy Fool himself is at that, but considering this is a 1v2, that already shows how strong and how much of a nuisance Morgesh is in this 1v2 situation, and why she, in the current state of the game, is such a highly contended pick to be put in that lane.
Polarized pushing mid lane here pretty hard. I'm expecting a landmine into a gank as we see the rotation of 2 coming off to the mid lane. That they're actually going to let more. Crazy Fool is actually going to pick up the kill. Or I'm sorry, Nemesis is going to pick up a kill on Crazy Fool, just being overextended there. And then, of course, I believe the minions actually got that kill on Oath there.
The Hive was able to pick up that kill, finishing him off with a little bit of help with the minions. 3 minutes, River Buff is being contended over. Polarized is going to pick up a kill over onto Monotone, but Polarized is just trying to do what he can to try to get away. Is there enough damage for him to get that kill? Nope. Only that level 1, level 2 Gadget Sticky Bomb. Not enough damage to take Polarized down, but the issue there was that entire time they were chasing down Howitzer, Nemesis was in the back line, just shooting him down like a good space cop does, and he picks up a kill for himself. So, as expected, 3 minutes, River Buff. Pretty much a somewhat of an even exchange in that situation. And the River Buffs themselves, not much to control coming out from those being ascertained, but just more so just trying to control the map and make sure they have good vision control, which right now is about split 50-50. The only real deep ward is the weak side of the jungle there, where you see Twin Blast and Narbash making sure they don't get rotated on or any shenanigans like that.
So Nemesis has already picked up 2 kills. He's picked up a kill onto Crazy Fool and picked up a kill onto Fatal Barrage. So it puts him in a little bit of a lead over Mr. Guru right now. Not by much. Crazy Fool, again, in a lot of trouble. Sticky Bomb's going to land and going to pick up another kill on Crazy Fool. Crazy Fool getting really aggressive here, guys. Is this... Well, there's another kill. Fader Barrage is going to pick up O'Doyle as well underneath of that tower. Shane, is this Arctic Wolves being overconfident? You know, they're all very skilled players. We're seeing a lot of rotations. We're seeing them get aggressive. Do you think they're being a little bit overconfident right now and pushing too hard?
Maybe not their team as a whole, but Crazy Fool definitely needs to get a little bit of grasp of the reins of Morgesh and what you can and cannot do with her. It's very easy to overextend on Morgesh because she is just so good at harassing people down. She's not a burst hero. She's pretty much the converse to Countess, where she slowly burns people down, and she's so good at it that she can get early game kills. And playing this hero can definitely give you a tombstone courage, where you feel like you can just go into a fight no problem, and ultimately it ends up getting you killed. I think that's just a situation Crazy Fool trying to just not understand, but rather push this hero to her limits, and unfortunately a little bit past those limits has resulted in his death, and quite possibly another one here. Monotone's rotated over as the tower's getting pushed down. He's taking a lot of damage, and he actually is going to fall. So even if Crazy Fool does get taken out here, which he does, Nemesis gets the kill, it's still a 1-for-1 exchange. And if you're an offlaner, you're going to take that exchange every single day of the week. Of course, the silver lining for Nemesis is he was able to pick up a kill for himself. But still, your goal as an offlaner is to try to make that lane go as even as possible. You're in a position where inherently you are going to be at a disadvantage. And if you can take even exchanges in a 1v3 situation, then you're going to be pretty content about that outcome.
Meanwhile, over in the offlane, Doyle was a little bit far out without any vision. We saw a wraparound from Fatal Barrage. Oracle landed a thunk. Mr. Guru was able to pick up an assist there. He got an assist on it. It does look like Fatal was able to get the last hit onto the Bellica, but they do pick up a kill in that offlane while Nemesis picks up a kill on Crazy Fool and does fall there. So, I mean, very early into the game, we've got 4 kills on the side of Immortal Kings, 5 kills over on the side of Arctic Wolves. Card power-wise, everybody's pretty even at this point. O'Doyle's going to be a little bit behind because he's only at currently 4 last hits, and he's got 2 deaths. So he's only sitting at 6 card points. He's been pressured really hard in that lane over there. And that's one of the strengths of Twin Blast early and those grenades is that you can pressure early. You land a thunk, 2 grenades, triple tap, you're going to be able to deal, 50 to 74% of their damage relatively quickly. And, of course, with the help of that jungler, secure a kill.
7 minutes. River buff's about to spawn. We see the rotation from mid lane. Fatal has been caught up. He has the green buff to allow him to tank a little bit more damage and also be a little bit more of a threat. Holmes, he just wanted to pick up a river buff. Thought he was okay with Unoath supporting him in the back line. The rest of his team rotated, but unfortunately Gadget was a little bit ahead of his team, and he gets taken out there by a pretty straightforward rotate. River buffs are going to be the stealth and the movement buff, blue and purple respectively. He was able to pick up that purple buff. Not sure who was able to get that, but nonetheless, it bears repeating. We say it quite a bit. The purple buff in coordinated environments like this, generally what utility you gain out of them isn't really necessary being able to pick up kills by being stealthy and finding someone caught off guard. These guys are aware of those river buffs, are very cognizant of them all the time. It's more so just looking for wards and getting rid of the wards restricting vision for maybe a subsequent Raptor, which it's a little bit too early for right now, or just taking map control, which is the highlight of the early game, is to try to get a foothold of map control, so that way when the bigger objectives come online, you have firm control over them. He should be okay. He's going to pop that speed boost to him, get away, and he'll be just fine. Smash and grab was maybe a little bit too early, as Nemesis was in range. You want to save that until they're out of range and then use that. Now Fatal's taking a lot of damage. Nemesis is just sitting there going in, but Mr. Guru flanks in from the river, throws a grenade, gets himself a kill. And he continues to pursue down. Thunk isn't going to land, so that is going to be the escape of Unoath underneath the tower, but Twin Blast swept in, pick up 2 kills on a Grux and Murdoch, and I don't think they were able to expect that here. Polarized chasing down the Bellica. If he has a landmine up, he might be able to get the kill. Might just be outside of the range of it. This is still a very greedy pursuit, as we do see he's continuing to chase under a tier 2 tower. Actually misses the R2000 rocket. Only level 6, though. It's only a level 3 R2000 rocket. Even if that was to hit, Bellica was more than likely okay. She's going to be forced to back. And it's now a Howitzer versus Bellica lane, a traditional mid lane over here on the right side of the map. And in a given situation where everything is even 50-50, Bellica can certainly get solo kills onto this Howitzer. But more so, because you're in that side lane, you always have to be very concerned about junglers and mid laners rotating over and catching you off guard.
So, looking at we've got Crazy Fool, 1-4-2 right now. O'Doyle is 0-2-0. O'Doyle, the Bellica only has 13 CS. She's very underfarmed. I expect to see them put a lot of pressure on that. And that's what Polarize is doing. Polarize is pushed up past the tier 1 tower. He's backing now, but has been pushed up past that tier 1 tower, being a very aggressive in this lane, trying to deny her more farm and keep her on the back foot so the rest of the team is able to farm, possibly go after Raptors at 10 minutes without having to worry about the Bellica, the Void Drone, her Mana Bomb, and knockup, of course. So we're seeing a lot of aggression out of Arctic Wolves. It's paid off, but at the same time, Nemesis has been picking up kills as well. He's 3-1-2. He's 14 card power. He's only 2 card power behind Twin Blast right now.
Fight over here, right at the 10-minute mark. All these teams grouping up for the Raptors. Very quickly, Decker was taken out. She's not level 5 yet. There's a big timing with Raptors. If you can get your supports to level 5 prior to those Raptors, prior to that 10 minutes, and you can actually put yourself at a massive advantage, though. That's generally not the case, especially in a match that's that has had this sort of cadence when it comes to rotation and moving across the map on both sides of the field. We actually see Crazy Fool being pursued. He's just trying. Right now, this is Crazy Fool just trying to create some space, saying, chase me, instead of doing anything else. He is pretty much creating space for Mr. Guru, Oracle, and Fatal to pick up the Raptors. And he actually is able to get away. So
he got
Crazy Fool's got his running shoes on tonight, guys. Not only did he create space, secured the Raptors for Mr. Guru, but somehow, some way, was able to get away from what looked like a easy kill.
And picked up a kill on Grux as well before he left. So he did end up getting a kill as well. So we're looking now. Raptors have been picked up. All 3 of those Raptors go over to Mr. Guru, sitting at 20 card power. That's the strength of the Raptors. It goes from a 2-point card advantage to a 6-point card advantage very quickly there, because of 1 farm in the lane, picking up 3 Raptors. He's also been prioritizing that gold buff pretty well. So the gold buff has changed, Shane. The gold buff before would give you bonus experience if you last hit. Now it works similar to a river buff. It spawns at 3 minutes, and then it spawns every 2 minutes after that. But when you kill it, it gives you experience, 350 card power right away. Boom, there you go. Here's some extra card power. Take that, enjoy, and pick up those cards earlier. We've seen a couple teams where they allow their support to pick it up, so they can pick up cards like Quenching Scales faster.
Right. Yep.
But it does look like Mr. Guru has been prioritizing that when he was in that lane, prioritizing it early to give him that card power advantage.
Yeah, those gold buffs added a sense of tension through the early game that before was really just relegated to kills and pushes. So I think the addition of the gold buff recently with patch point 40 was a beautiful thing that at first just seemed like a little bit of a change in the grand scheme of things, actually really changed the dynamic of the early game. Crazy Fool inevitably is going to pick up a 1v1 kill over on a Bellica. Not you called it, putting a lot of pressure into this Bellica here. Again, Bellica is a hero who gets a lot out of her kit, even if she is starved from farm. She does a lot with a little. But she's doing pretty much nothing with nothing as of this moment. 0-3-0, only has 11 card points to her name. She can still be an impact in this fight, but if as a role as the offlaner, you want to make sure your waves aren't getting pushed in and you're not giving up kills. Other side of the field, crash, bang, boom, isolated Murdoch. Mr. Guru just sat there using the triple shot, and he picked up a kill onto the carry as well. 3-man here. Fatal Barrage is here with full mana, full health. A Siege Minion is right behind them with their wave, so setting themselves up and posturing for what appears to be a tier 1 safe lane push here at the 13-minute mark. Unoath, even if he does have a full health bar, is not level 5, and they're going to forfeit this tower, as I think they should.
Subjugate, almost land on Unoath. He's able to leap it and get out. Misses the stasis bomb, but he does survive. Tier 1 tower is going to fall, Shane. We're 13 minutes into the game. 2 tier 1 towers down. We've got 12 kills over on the side of Arctic Wolves right now. They are rotating very well. Holmes is going to be in some trouble here in the mid lane. Does look like he's going to get under that safety of his tower.
Behind him, though.
Yeah, I was going to say coming behind him, though.
He's a dead man. Mr. Guru comes in. That's just a good flank from the strong side of the jungle, and that gank was 100% set up by the fact that Arctic Wolves have full map control, deep wards inside of the strong side of their opponent there. They had no idea what was happening, no idea. Immortalz had no idea they were going to flank around right there. Holmes had that false sense of security and just got picked off on within his own tower and ultimately give up the tower. So all the tier 1 towers have now fallen for Immortalz here, and map control is... I don't think so. They're warding for it.
They've warded.
That would be very greedy. That would be very greedy, to say the least.
I mean, they've got the card power advantage. Mr. Guru, 27 card power. He's picked up his Hemorrhage. The quenching scales of carries right here. Hemorrhage, just how strong this card is. We've seen a lot of comp players run this card. Gives you lifesteal, attack speed, but of course the big active. For 6 seconds, Shane, you gain 44 attack speed, 80% or 8 plus 80 max movement speed. You do take additional 50% damage, but that attack speed is so strong early on for a lot of these guys. It can help you clear Raptors quickly, help you clear Orb Prime quickly if you decide to go for it at 15 minutes. But there's that risk, high reward. You're going to take a lot of extra damage by picking up that particular card. So they are posturing around this. They know it spawns soon.
Immortalz is aware. Monotone with the green buff is leading the charge at this current moment. Tesla Dome has been used out, and Fatal is going to be at very low health here any moment. He's going to have to run away immediately. But it seems that it doesn't matter. The containment fence from Decker was just way too delayed right there. The ultimates have to line up. With this draft that Immortal has, very based upon the Wombo combo potential of the Gadget, the Decker, as well as the Bellica, not much has been happening with them as they have not been able to line up those abilities. So 3 kills over to Arctic Wolves. Fatal's fairly wounded, had about a quarter HP, but they're going to go for this Orb Prime nonetheless. A 15.5-minute Orb Prime. This is going to take quite some time, and also they're going to take a lot of damage here. Nemesis, they're posturing. Nemesis and Decker are posturing here, but I don't think he's looking for a steal potentially. Crazy Fool's going to try to zone, and this is the right call from Arctic Wolves, not to 5-minute, but simply punish the fact that they're that being greedy. Nemesis tried for the play. He tried for the play before he went down. It's not going to happen, though. Immortalz, we're going for the greedy, maybe game-breaking play, but the only thing it broke was any chance they had at stealing that Orb Prime. And now a mid-lane push, 16 minutes in. No Decker, no Murdoch for the next 15 seconds. A minimum Tier 2 towers fall here, but one more botched fight could be the end of the game, Notch. A very early game.
Yeah, I mean, good smash grab, but unfortunately, Doyle's going to fall again. Grux falls as well. This is going to be a Tier 2 tower going to the side of Arctic Wolves, and it should be quite possibly an inhibitor as well.
Yeah.
Holmes took an R2000 there, about 25% of his health. He is so low. He's going to fall to Crazy Fool there. Fato's going to take a couple tower shots, but be all right. They have the Orb Prime activated, which means they have that health and mana regen if they don't take any damage for 6 seconds, or any damage from enemy heroes for 6 seconds. So they pick up the inhibitor. They know everybody's going to be spawning. They've got card power. They're going to possibly set waves and look for another tower. They are going to clear out the enemy jungler and just say, this is our farm as well. Thank you for your contribution to our card power. And then they're going to back off. And you know what I say? If you have Orb Prime, you might as well get Raptors, and that's what they're going to do as well.
I like this call. Stabilize. Make sure you don't give up the inhibitor map control that you just took, because there is the possibility of a counter push. Though this early on with an inhibitor falling, for there to be a counter push of that magnitude, Arctic Wolves would have to give up several kills in succession with respawn timers only being about 20 to 30 seconds. He might be in some trouble here, but the follow-up from his team is looping right around the corner. And that's enough to just immediately blow them up. If anything, I think that was a little bit of a debated sort of situation coming out from Crazy Fool there, ladies and gentlemen. That's the full handful. They get all 5 of them. And they got a quadra kill as well. No Penta. Someone denied a Penta. If I'm in comms right now, I'm getting a little bit mad at my teammate for denying me the Penta, denying me that Rampage. But
it's always the Howitzer. It's always the Howitzer, the R2000. Anytime I don't get my Penta, I blame it on the Howitzer, even if he's not on the map, because an R2000 has landed somewhere, and that's what happened. I'm sure Crazy Fool's like, God dang it! I got to make up for this bad start. They're going to go for the Orb Prime, or the core here. They've got 8 minions. They should be able to clear this with Orb Prime activated. And this looks like it's going to be GG in favor of Arctic Wolves, Shane. That was Arctic Wolves. They started off a little shaky, I got to be honest. And then about the 6-minute mark, like, okay, Crazy Fool, could you do us a favor and stop dying? Crazy Fool said, all right. And they moved on. They cleaned it up. A 15.5-minute Orb Prime, Shane. That's an early Orb Prime.
I think the last time we saw a 15.5-minute Orb Prime was June 3rd of 2016.
You have the actual date? Is that Narrator? Did you give him the numbers? I feel like Narrator.
June 3rd of 2016 is the last time. Back on Legacy when the Orb Prime spawned, like before Minions spawned. Long time ago. Different game, guys. Different games. If you weren't around back then, it was good times. It was the wild, wild west. It was an amazing time. It was the best of times. Arctic Wolves, they have a new roster, but they look just as strong. Of course, obviously, Immortalz, a newer team to the scene. had a lot to prove right there, and Arctic Wolves just seemed to be the better team overall, other than Crazy Fool maybe getting living up to his name and getting a little bit crazy in the early stages of that game. He started to stabilize his play, wasn't giving up unnecessary kills, and from there, Arctic Wolves just pretty much took the game with the greatest of ease.
Yeah, I mean, really just solid game overall. Mr. Guru finishes 11-0-7. Substantial lead, 38 card power, Shane. Nemesis had 22. Like, you just, the amount of farm, the prioritizing the Raptors, picking up kills, really played out well for them. Good rotations from Fatal Barrage. I think the big thing is to mention is that they harassed their Bellica so hard. She really was a non-factor in any of these engagements. And that was just them. They know they had already put her on the back foot. And they said, you know what, let's continue that. Let's continue to keep her underfarmed. And they did a really good job with that. So Arctic Wolves is going to win their first game. With these stages changed, so we are doing group stages. So today teams have to play, is it a total of 3? It's a total of a total of 3 games. And then we'll take two teams out of each group that will move on to the 17th and 18th. So we can narrow down the brackets. So they've got a couple more games to play before we see if they move on. But if they have any more games like that, it's pretty safe to say Arctic Wolves will be moving on to the next round. Immortalz still has a chance. So hopefully we'll hear as the day progresses more about how their games went on. But game 1, Shane, slobber knocker. It was a slobber knocker, if you will. We're going to take a quick break, guys. We're going to jump into a second game here in just a minute. Thank you guys for watching Paragon Competitive League. Thank you for supporting competitive Paragon. And we'll see you guys in just a few minutes.